차분치래. What is more terrifying than being arrested by the police? Getting caught by gangsters. And right now, everyone's favorite 美国百宝族 is on the Korean mods must-have Pokemon Go list. And now this goober is asking the orange man to save his life.
You're in trouble now.
Wagarikong. This is just the tip of the iceberg, yo, because today you are going to discover that Johnny Somali is just a little baebak puppet, and there is someone even more flagrant, even more sinister, pulling his little strings. Real talk, this is probably the most ridiculous reality show you will ever see. So you know what it is, to pay that palmiwa, because today it is sponsored by Magic Planet, and it is delicious as fuck, son. So make sure you get several bags, because we're going to be saying it a lot today. I mean, it's written right there. 代志大条。Johnny Somali, the world's most beloved live streaming influencer. This charming fellow has a knack for doing racist and annoying things so spectacularly that he's been deported from multiple countries. It's like he's playing a twisted game of global hot potato. And South Korea, clearly impressed by his antics, decided to arrest him. Now he faces up to 5 years in prison or more. Poor Johnny, how will the world survive without his wonderful and delightful content? For more on this heartwarming tale of cultural sensitivity, check out our other video, linked down below, because who doesn't want more of this slow motion train wreck? And on his conviction day, this paragon of virtue graced reporters with his pearls of wisdom.
Is there anything you want to say? Do you admit the charges? Don't you want to apologize?
They came in the microphone. They said, "Do you accept the charges?" I said, "Suck my fuck. I love Kim Jong-un."
And this ain't even the worst part, because on the exact same day he got released, he started talking shit about the judge.
He said, "I don't know because I don't speak Korean." And then the judge said, "You can speak English."
The nigga told me, I'm like, I don't know how to tell you. How do I say ching chong ching ching ching? How can I say that to you?
God damn, that was racist.
You heard that right. After the hearing and after he pleaded guilty to nearly every charge, this genius decided the perfect response was to racially mock and taunt the very person determining his fate. Jesus, this is like watching someone set fire to their parachute while skydiving. A masterclass in self-sabotage.
Do you still want me to promote Somali coin?
No, don't.
Yeah. Or switch.
No, don't. It's gonna be legal trouble. Don't do it.
No.
It's not gonna come anyway, bro.
You know,
The only one who's gonna cash out this is Yang nigga.
what I suggest is, you stream tomorrow and I launch it meme coin named Jail Somali. What I'm suggesting, the Jail Somali stream will be crashing, will be crashing out. I'm telling you, Jail Somali.
And then, while he faces a possible conviction by the court, awaiting the judge's final sentencing, Somali announced his latest master plan, a scam project, encouraging his viewers to hurry up and get in on the action of a crypto rug pull meme coin aptly named Jail Somali Coin.
They were going back and forth over the name on this, and I do think it's funny. This is in his chat. So RKI is launching a crypto. Jail. Anybody that's going to invest in this obvious rug pull is doing it for the ability to file SEC and FBI charges. Jail should have named it Cabbage. Crypto is heavily regulated in South Korea. This is a violation of 3 separate legal acts. By marketing and developing a crypto, and particularly by selling it cross-border, you are, number one, violating the Act on Protection of Virtual Asset Users. You are required to register with the Korean authorities when you are creating an asset to disclose everybody that is involved in this, right? To make all those proper disclosures. Then you have anti-money laundering and KYC. Johnny would need to give all of his personal information, all his bank information, his interest in it, the interest of Yang. They have to register this with the Securities Commission, and they have to declare this before they do anything involving that. And third, if they enter into cross-border virtual asset transactions, so this is specifically for crypto that exits South Korea, you need to get a separate registration under this last act, the Cross-Border Virtual Asset Transaction Act. So this is violating multiple acts, which could be over a decade in time of violations in terms of maximum penalty. Once again, realistically, could tack on a couple years.
So as of right now, Somali is still stuck in South Korea. And despite his predicament, this fool has already been arrested 2 more times in 2 different districts for doing even more outlandish shit. But unfortunately, I can't show it on the screen. From dancing half naked in Korean streets to even waving a gun around on live stream. And it seems like this crypto rug pull scheme could land him in even more trouble. Now, some of you might be wondering, why in the hell does this Beiran Bai Baozu keep doing this shit? Why risk hefty fines and even jail time harassing a police officer over a $5 donation?
That's crazy, man.
Honestly, I'm starting to feel sorry for this little nigga, cause in this clout-driven social media age, pretending to have mental problems 好像有钱赚哦. But that still begs a very important question. Who is the one behind the scenes who is convincing Johnny to keep committing these evil 白包 deeds? 我跟你讲，这人吼 is even more sinister and even more flagrant than Johnny Somali could ever be. And in addition to a very long rap sheet, he has some very serious, legit mental issues. You know what? We gonna need another bag for this one. Cause 真的是代志大条。Fun fact, Johnny is not in South Korea alone. He has one loyal supporter always by his side.
그 Johnny랑 통화하고 싶다고 해서 지금 Johnny 옆에 있거든요.
조니 소말리랑 지금 어떤 연락을 받으신 거예요?
누가 그 Johnny가
As you can see, Hank had that number on speed dial because Hank, in case you guys don't know the history of Hank very often calls the police, and he's kind of like Johnny's police pager. So Johnny will just tell Hank to call the police and he'll call the police right away. So Hank is claiming that Johnny did something, and there was someone said Johnny did something and filed a false report. So they're trying to claim already, Hank is trying to claim that what they filed was a false report.
This guy supports Johnny, follows him wherever he goes, helps him translate to the police, even helps him call the police, and ultimately allows Johnny to stay at his house.
Here's old Hank doing some twirling. So let me get that.
The Black Lives Matter. Dixie Two Arms.
Hyung Jun Yu, aka Hank. Now, in case you haven't figured it out, this nigga is Korean as fuck. Born in South Korea, he immigrated to America and somehow found himself in my old neighborhood and eventually ended up in one of the most racist towns in all of Texas, Tyler. Real talk, this city has a long history of racial fuckery, especially when it comes to black folks hanging from trees. And in 2023, more than half of the 500 plus hate crimes committed in the city were racially motivated. And somehow, our boy Hank thought this stuff was cool and started identifying as a German mustache enthusiast. And not only that, this Asian identifies as Caucasian.
God damn it! You can't make this shit up!
Wow, make it make sense. An Asian man who identifies as a white German mustache enthusiast and also heavily subscribes to supremacist ideology. That's like Pepe Zhu doing Yeah Pay for Ludo Fun, or me being the frontman for the KKK.
White power!
Now Hank ain't just Pepe Zhu slinging Ludo Fun. This Pepe Zhu doubles up with Swang Fun Ro and douses it in soy sauce, yo. He puts racial hate into action.
Han Jong-yu was convicted on 8 counts under the Gun Control Act, 7 counts of making false statements to a federally licensed gun dealer in violation of 18 U.S.C. 924, and 1 count of possession of a firearm by a prohibited person in violation of Section 922. Because the evidence was sufficient to establish each element of 924, we affirm his conviction on 1 through 7. But because Yu was not committed to a mental institution within the meaning of 922, we reverse the judgment of conviction.
When someone supports German mustache ideology and buys guns using false information, it definitely will attract the attention of the FBI. And did I mention he wasn't even a US citizen, but pretended to be one? And after being charged and serving a couple of years in jail, he was deported back to South Korea by ICE back in 2021.
Okay, call the cops. I don't care, Hank. It's a content. Call him. Call him. Okay, you call him, Hank. I don't think we should call him.
So he was there saying he wants money or he will call the cops. So constantly what you're going to see as a theme is Hank needs money.
Police. We came here. There's no reason to call the police. That's to call the police. Nope.
So even Ramsey Khalid Ismail, the Golden Goblin, is calling Hank a bitch for in his words, not even mine, his words. That's Ramsey Khalid Ismail's word. For calling the cops. And he wants to call the cops on people whose house they showed up at. Think about that for a second. They showed up and harassed these people. We saw this video with fireworks, with everything else. And Hank wants to be called the cops, and Ramsey calls them out. Very hilarious.
Call the police. I want some money. You want some money?
He wants money. See, and you're going to see this as a theme. Hank is broke as hell.
Then, fast forward to 2024, and by happenstance, or what I like to call fuckery stance, Hank met Johnny. And to help him make money, he encouraged Johnny to increasingly do outrageous things, starting with disrespecting the Korean comfort women statue. And after these two joined evil forces, Johnny immediately learned a lot about Korean history and also exactly how to anger all South Koreans. Now you might be wondering, but if Johnny is the one streaming, how in the hell does Hank make money?
So Hank says, yo, I need someone to send me some financial support. I am doing fucking terribly right now due to all these legal bullshit. This guy says, oh, you don't say. Me, after I searched your name online, I got like 40 NEETs. NEETs is like another word for hikikomori, not in education or employment or training. So it's like people who are at home all day, which he's the NEET, right? He's the one who really doesn't have a job. It's kind of a loser. I've got like 40 NEETs conspiring against me. I need to hire a lawyer to crush them. So he's literally begging for money from Johnny's supporters. So he's actually going in, this is to Johnny's supporters and Johnny's community, and begging Johnny's community when Johnny has no money, when Johnny has no attorney. Johnny has a public defender, which once again, public defenders aren't bad, but they're not the best. They're not the highest quality, right? Johnny doesn't have a top tier attorney. So he's begging Johnny's community for money when Johnny doesn't even have it. And what type of friend does this? What type of friend, instead of thinking of you, is thinking of himself in his own legal case? And by the way, so he's trying to sue people for money.
So let's get this straight. An Asian who believes he's a Caucasian German mustache enthusiast was deported from the United States while pretending to be an American citizen. Then, once back in South Korea, he helped a black American, the ideological object of his hatred, to piss local Koreans off, further destroying the already tarnished image of black people in Asia, all the while asking his supporters for money. Hank is essentially weaponizing niggas to run a harem freak show and profit from it. This guy has to be one of the most delusional racist people I have ever seen this side of the globe.
Just a small announcement. You're pretty close to going to hell.
So hold on to your butts, because now this internet freak show is about to reach its ultimate climax, as Johnny revealed in a shocking interview that he is shaking in his tiny little boots. But it ain't because he's afraid of jail time, it's because he's afraid of one particular group of people. Something every 1990s LA resident knows all too well: roof Koreans. Now, any American who grew up in the 90s and watched the LA riots on television knows one sure thing: do not fuck with the Koreans.
Wednesday, April 29th, 1992. Chaos erupts in the streets of Los Angeles as tens of thousands of looters pillage the city. And with emergency services unavailable, business owners were left to fend for themselves. And out of all the stories told of the infamous 1992 LA riots, none have scratched the surface between myth and legend, like the story of a group of Korean immigrants taking arms on rooftops.
Back then, the Korean immigrant community was extremely well organized in protecting their neighborhood and their businesses, collectively shooting up to 50 people, with only one of them getting shot.
Bro, there's people that literally want to kill me, which is ridiculous. And there's people
there's people in Korea who are really after you. I mean, really just like Korean dudes who are after you.
Oh my God, I'm telling you, if you came here in October, November, I have some footage that is, and the police took 2 of my cell phones. Actually, one of my fans here in Korea gave me this phone so I can still stream. The Korean police have my phones in an evidence locker somewhere. I have so much footage, Alex, of my life day to day when I'm the most hated man in this country. And I have Korean Discord groups with 10,000 people tracking my geolocation. They were at one point trying to find what hotel I'm staying at, honking cars. Because I was like on X Space or Live, and they're trying to honk cars to figure out where I'm at. I'm serious.
That's crazy.
And I've really had multiple, like literally, I don't know what else to call it, literally attempts on my life. When that Korean ex-Navy SEAL guy punched me, bro, somebody can die from that. If you sucker punch somebody and they hit the concrete like I did.
Is that how you got the scar on your head?
No, this is from Israel. It's a whole other story. But I have a scar right here from when he punched me in the head. Bro, you can die for that. You can die from that. Seriously. And for people to be on the internet championing it and saying like, yo, this is right. Like people, that guy made, from punching me in the face, he went from 0 subscribers to 27,000 subscribers in a day. He made tens and thousands of dollars in donations.
Now, a few weeks ago, it was just 1, maybe 2 disgruntled Koreans aimlessly wandering the streets, hoping to run into Johnny Somali and cash in on that Pokemon Go challenge. But now they've taken the high ground, literally, organizing on rooftops and actively trying to triangulate this fool's location. And they are very, very organized.
I was in touch with the embassy. I've been emailing back and forth with them about us sitting down, and what they've expressed to me is that this falls beyond their jurisdiction, and that really the only people that can help you are in the State Department in the United States. So I emailed like Marco Rubio's office, and I emailed a lot of those people over there. You have an American citizen who wears a MAGA hat and goes around shooting content, and he was arrested in South Korea, and he's being held, and his passport, is being held. And, Trump is president now. He freed all of these January 6th people. He freed all of those people. The State Department needs to step in and protect somebody who's like one of their own,
and a lot of people claim like, yo, he put the MAGA hat on to support Trump to get to free him. I don't know. Trump is somebody that likes the social media and is in tune with that. You know what I mean? If that's what I got to do to come home, I want to come home.
Johnny was arrested more than 5 times in South Korea for harassment, making phone calls for $5 to the Korean police, and humiliating the Comfort Women statue. Now he's in the middle of being prosecuted by the courts in 5 different districts with 3 convictions in 1. And right now he absolutely cannot leave the country. Turns out when you turn an entire country against you, they're not exactly too eager to let you hop on a plane.
Not a great plan.
Now a very dangerous group is organizing to find his ass. And his response? To play the victim, pretending to be a MAGA supporter, requesting the Trump administration bring him back to the United States, and nothing says help me like suddenly discovering your political affiliation when Korean mafia groups are offering cash rewards for your whereabouts. And now his Asian, Caucasian partner, the new face of the German mustache movement, who's pretended to be an American citizen and then was kicked out of the country, is now back in his own, encouraging this guy to do the worst things so that he can beg for money from Johnny's fans. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 21st Century Internet Freak Show, where for just $5 you can see the worst of privileged humans commit the most despicable acts.
Now I know.
And knowing is half the battle.
G.I. Joe!
So, who do you think is worse, Johnny or Hank? Does Somali stand a chance of being rescued by the Orange Man? And should Hank be on the hook for Johnny's crimes? Let me know what you think down below. Keep it civil, yo. And also, buy this popcorn. And after that, remember to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you on the flip side. Peace!